Okay, good morning. We're going to kick off since it's at the appointed time. Call the meeting to order. I want to start off by saying that Chairman McDaniel couldn't be here today, so I'm sitting in for him in his stead. And we'll go to item 2, which is the minutes for the September 22nd meeting. You've all had them in your packet. Do I hear any discussion or a motion to approve? Second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Minutes are approved for September 22nd. Item 3 on the list. David?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Item 3 is the MAPS 3 Revenue and Expenditure Report for the period ending September 30th, 2016. Pardon me. On the revenue side for the month, $8,734,379. In fiscal year, $26,995,703. And for total program revenue of $665,787,666. On the expenditure side, for the month, $5,963,301. Fiscal year, $15,164,621, and total program expenditures, $221,361,922. Most significant of those expenditures is the park, where we have the utilities being moved, and the streetcar project, where we have rail that has arrived and we have cars that are being constructed. I'll be able to answer any questions that you might have.
Do we have any questions? Mike?
David, can you remind me when the end of the sales tax?
It'll be December 31st, 2017.
Next year, okay. And I suppose you guys are constantly looking at where we are, and I didn't print all that budget report. I apologize for that. But in terms of where we are with excess funds,
yes, sir.
Can I go back? Is that on that budget report?
We're presently 5.2% above the original targets on collections.
Okay. And the trends, you guys pretty good at that? Crazy economy that just...
It's up and down, and this past month it's been down lower than it has in recent months. But our motto is that 1 month doesn't make a trend, so we'll see how that turns out. But as I said, we're still 5.2% above the target.
Overall. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, with the help of the funder, maybe that'll pick back up again. Okay. Item 4 is presentation on the MAPS Convention Center.
There's been a lot of progress made on the Convention Center project, and we're happy today to show you some of that progress. We have Todd Both and Adam Polish here from Populous to give us a presentation on where we are so far, so I'd like to invite them up.
Well, good morning. It's good to be here with you. We're very excited about the progress that we've made, and we want to show that to you today. We've had a number of meetings this week, and I can tell you the subcommittee is very pleased with the work that's been done as well. One thing I wanted to point out, we've gone through a very extensive evaluation of our costs for the project, and what you're going to see today is a reflection of that costing exercise. We are very close to being on budget, and it's perfect for where we are right now. We're within 2%, which is great, and at this point, and we have no doubt that we will be in a position of meeting your budget. And we'll, as we move along in the further development of the project, we'll create these approaches to making sure that we stay within budget as we go. We also have had meetings with the Omni company for the hotel and coordinated with them, which has been very good. And one of those conversations revealed that we're needing to create more of a district traffic study so that we know how all the vehicles and pedestrians work within that district as opposed to just the convention center and just the hotel. So we're in the process of starting that study as well, which we think is critically important to the success of the whole district. So with that little intro, I'm going to ask Adam Polish to come up now and present the work that we've done to date. Adam, thank you.
Yeah, as Todd said, it's been a good week of presentations and meetings and successful meetings with our subcommittee. And so what I want to walk you guys through is just the updated renderings, the updated vision for the building, I think we're all familiar with the design story and where we come from, so I can breeze through some of that really quick. But we actually had physical samples of all these materials in our subcommittee this meeting, and they were met with extremely positively. So again, really exciting time, and as Todd said, when cost is aligned with the vision, it's good for all of us. So if we remember, the core to shore is our design story, core to shore, earth to sky, and again, you'll start to see that reflected in some of our renderings. It's, it's not just about where the building is and the development, it's about how the building relates to all the materials from downtown all the way to the developments down by the river and all the other exciting stuff. So this is where we were last time. These were the renderings that we showed that were basically just demonstrating the vision for the convention center, where we were going with most of the materials that we picked. And so as we talk through these materials, we've basically narrowed it down to about 8 key materials for the exterior of the building. The first one is a terracotta rain screen system. Again, playing with that natural palette that we see around the city. It's a natural material. It's through colored. It's something that you'll get a lot of natural variation in. We think it'll be successful as one of the key materials for the facility. There's also been a lot of talk on the addition of a wood or a wood-like material in the building, and so we've gone ahead and specified this wood veneer. It's an engineered system. It's exterior rated, UV treated for exterior usage. This very product is just installed on the Sydney Convention Center, which opens up this month, which we've had a lot of success with. And of course, because of the west-facing condition, glazing is of utmost importance here. So we are using an extremely high-performing glass product. That's a lot of excitement for the glass. It's good. Yeah. So the glass that we'll be using, again, is a low-emissive, high-performing glass to not only protect the building, but to protect the people on the inside as well. And where there needs to be concrete, we'll be using a board-formed concrete to mimic what we're calling a rammed earth aesthetic, again, just to play with that natural palette across the building. Where we have plaster, we'll be using 2 different textures of plaster to provide some kind of architectural design aesthetic for the facades. That'll be a majority of the plaster facades. And then for the ballroom roof, what you'll see is we're using a combination of these metal panels. We're playing with various levels of reflectivity to help us in our lighting design, and of course to pick up some of the reflections that we have from the park and the sky, the park across the street, and then of course the sky to fit in with our painted sky concept. And then an architectural metal screen that screens all of our mechanical equipment and our loading areas, knowing that they need to be shielded from vision, but they need to be open air to allow for them to perform. So again, you'll start to see where we have those in these renderings. We provided our subcommittee with a small set of drawings just to update them with where we are at with the design. It was a set of plans, elevations, and sections, just to give a little bit of insight on where we are with the technical level of our drawings. And so we walk through the renderings. This is us standing in the park. This is the nighttime shot. Again, just demonstrating the scale of the building and how you do see the building rise above the tree line and do become that backdoor or that backdrop to the park. And then here's a day shot where you can start to see the silhouette of the building in the sky. And so this is standing south looking on Robinson, and you start to see a combination of the materials. The main forms that are framing the glass curtain wall that you see, that would be our terracotta material. It'll be a variation of 2 different colors, again, for that natural aesthetic. The underside of all of those materials is where we are implementing that the wooden Proderma material, again, to play with that natural aesthetic. And we didn't necessarily want to go with a metal panel system here. We wanted to, live within the palette of the park and all the development happening across Robinson. So this is that night shot, and we've had a lot of talk about the ballroom and how we can elevate the level of the ballroom experience. And so we've been working really hard with our lighting designers to allow this level of customization for the ballroom lighting scheme. So when you look at these renderings, as I flip through, we have a series of color-changing LEDs mounted on the underside of the ballroom ceiling, and we also have light being thrown up to the underside of the ballroom to allow for that next level of experience for branding. So if you think about a Thunder game, it could be blue. If OU wins, it could be red. If OSU wins, it could be orange. If it's a wedding, just again to allow, stay orange. I've learned never to throw a color on anything here without a disclaimer. So again, that level of flexibility that we're seeing, and again providing that level of prominence for that. That exclusive high-end space that the ballroom is as it overhangs the park in Robinson. And so I want to give credit to our engineering team and our design team for this, as the building seems simple. However, to achieve architectural moves like this, we have really pushed the materials and the engineering to an extreme. And so, again, when we have cantilevers like this to frame this architecture, it truly does become a special moment. And so I want to call attention to the underside of this, and this is where we're using this metal panel soffit system, and it's designed to where you will pick up the reflections from the surrounding area. And so essentially wherever you're standing, the ballroom will start to kind of take on a look of its own. So again, using a material to just provide that next level of interest for the underside of the ballroom. This is looking north on Robinson, and this is a good opportunity where you can see, again, the wooden soffit material underneath the terracotta panel. So really simply, wherever we have the terracotta, we will have a wood soffit directly adjacent to it, completing that aesthetic. So looking north on Robinson, this is probably my favorite image just because it's the most telling of all the development that's happening, again, with downtown, the convention center, and the park to the left. And this is a new image that was new to our subcommittee, coming north on Shields. So this is coming right over that overpass from the highway. And so you start to see, I want to say, the loading and the functional side of the facility. Someday, knock on wood, there will be development between Shields and Broadway. However, this is where you see the usage of the architectural screening system that we're using to protect the loading dock and all of the mechanical equipment. It was our main goal to keep all of the mechanical equipment out of the sight lines of the pedestrians, so all of the mechanical equipment on the roof is pulled away enough and screened so that, from a pedestrian level, it's hidden from view. And then the aerial that we've pulled back, quite a few feet. I'd call this, maybe 10,000 feet. And so really when you see the park, the Robinson Convention Center, hotel, the streetcar, again, it's kind of a beautiful rendering to understand what's happening in the city right now. So we've always called this design scheme the panorama, and so this is us standing on that ballroom balcony with the views to downtown, across the park, and of course down to the south to the Skydance Bridge and Union Station. So when we talk about the interiors, I'll walk you through some of these key spaces, and we've been using the earth, the horizon, and the sky as our design precedent. And so taking that inspiration and assigning each level its own unique palette. So for example, we have a fairly neutral palette, and we'll be introducing color in various locations on each level. So you can see here, for example, the earth will have a more natural orangey, brownish palette. As we go to the horizon level, it starts to introduce a wood material and some golden hues. And then when we get to the sky, is what we're calling the painted sky ballroom. You'll see the use of a lot of reflective materials, glass, and something a bit more, I guess ethereal is a good word, being so high up in the building. So this is that pre-function entry lobby to the north. Again, you can see the two-story space. It's approximately 70 feet, a lot of natural light. Carpet and terrazzo, open stairs flanking the escalators. This is that same pre-function circulation core looking south. Again, exposure to the outside, a lot of natural light, very clear circulation pathways in the building, and you can start to see what we're planning for the ballroom ceiling up there at the top of the image. The key of most of these convention centers is the introduction of these casual meeting spaces outside of the meeting rooms. So we have a series of renderings just demonstrating these informal spaces outside of the rooms, loose furniture, power, data, technology, Wi-Fi access, all of the things that you would expect to have a successful meeting outside of the meeting. Again, some of the more casual meeting spaces with some of these unique materials that you'll see. This is the entry lobby to the south, again showing off the double height space with the circulation. This is a few feet away from there, looking at more of the casual meeting spaces. These casual meeting spaces are something that were very important to our subcommittee, and what we're realizing is that they're very important to the, just to the convention industry as well, which is why there's a lot of attention there. A typical meeting room, looking out to the west, again, natural light. It's been key in this whole design process. This is the junior ballroom, again with the natural light, obviously operable shades and blinds to allow for blackout conditions. And then this is the ballroom level. So this is on the top of the escalators and the stairs when you arrive to the ballroom level. We have a set of 3 vertical lifting walls to open up the face of the ballroom and to bleed out onto the pre-function and onto the outdoor terrace, essentially allowing your ballroom to grow from 30,000 feet to approximately 45, and continuing that metallic soffit from the exterior into the interior of the building to create the cohesive image in the ballroom level. And then inside the ballroom. Again, when you think about the procession of ballroom events, it's something really powerful to have these vertical lifting walls that open up to the exterior of the building. This is some of the research that we did on the Minnesota Vikings facility. We've worked closely with a lot of these manufacturers, and this is one of these products that we feel strongly about to use for the ballroom ceiling. It's something that's been done extremely successfully in projects around the country. So when we talk about graphics and wayfinding, it's really a conversation about technology. The building, because of its size, we feel it doesn't necessitate overhead airport terminal-like signage. We'll be addressing the signage with these podium signs. They're approximately 16 feet tall. And with the technology, they'll have interactive LED touchscreens on them, allowing not only the facility but the meeting planners to customize the experience for the user. Each one of these touchscreens will be at every single meeting room, allowing those meeting rooms, again, to customize the naming and the function of what's happening in the meeting room. So we would envision a series of these that correspond with each level as you go up into the building. Again, some wayfinding, and then obviously addressing, code-required entry and exiting signs, building identification. So designing something that fits in line with the overall aesthetic of the building. So that's where we're at. I just want to say we've had some good meetings with our MAPS team. They came to Kansas City for a day. We drove them around and showed them actual installations of all of these materials to talk about installations, durability, color, finish. It's something that we are confident in, and I think we now have our team on board as well for the choices of these. So that's all that we have today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adam. Any questions?
I would just like to say it's a beautiful design, and I truly appreciate the ARCA theming, so that we're bringing Coeur d'Alene all the way into downtown and forward. The unique use of elements and attention to detail are very uplifting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Good. Item
We'll
5.
go on to item 5. Now, resolution ratifying approval amendment number 1 of the MAPS 3 Convention Center demolition package. David?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Item 5 is recommend resolution ratifying and approving addendum number 1, MAPS 3 Convention Center demolition package 2, awarding contract to M&M Wrecking Incorporated for $135,541.68 and approve the contracts and bonds, project M3-C007. This is another package for demolition of buildings there in the footprint of the convention center. This will be the old abandoned firehouse and the building south of it, and then the building that we refer to as the pallet building where they do all the pallets. This comes for recommendation from the subcommittee for approval.
Okay. Do we have any questions?
Move approval.
Okay, I have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, then we'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. And the measure passes. On to number 6.
Yes.
Recommended resolution approving change order number 8 for the MAPS 3 Senior Health and Wellness Center. David?
This is, as you said, recommend resolution approving change order number 8, MAPS 3 Senior Health and Wellness Center number 1, a decrease of $45,877, project M3-H002. The bulk of this change order has to do with the pool that we switched over from a chlorine pool to a saltwater pool. If you recall, we had a number in that change order that would cover everything we could possibly think of in order to keep the contractor moving, that we didn't delay the opening of the project. The contractor has subsequently come back with the actual numbers, and it was significantly less. So we are getting a credit of $51,714 off of that change order to go with the pool. Then there's some shower floor revisions, some duct wrap that they went from an interior to an exterior wrap because of moisture problems, some padding in the gymnasium. So as I said, this is a decrease of $45,877, and this comes with a recommendation from the subcommittee.
Mike, any further discussion?
No, just that, our subcommittee does what we can to try to save money. I'd just like to point that out for the rest of you. I would move the resolution. Thank you.
Have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The measure passes. That takes us on to item number 7.
I'd like to show everybody today the progress of Wellness Center 2. We have a short presentation, and Rob Brown from FSB is here to show us what's going on with Wellness Center number 2.
Thank you. Again, I'm Rob Brown with FSB Associates. I am the project architect for the job, and this is a construction update as of this month. Quickly go to the site plan, and just to review everyone, this is at the corner of Grand Boulevard and South Walker Avenue, just south of the Capitol Hill High School is the site. You can see the building located there in the center of the page, and then the tennis courts located to the west are new, and they replaced the existing 5 that were in the place where the building now sits. Just to the north of the building is a new parking lot for the Senior Wellness Center. Quickly going through the plan, it includes the medical clinic portion to the left of the plan and the pool to the right. In the middle there is a group exercise and weights and cardio area sort of exercise portion. And then to the left in the green is an area with a kitchen for serving and multi-purpose use. On the second floor, the area is for a walking track in the mezzanine area, and that's pretty much dedicated for that. There's a little bit of more cardio in the middle as well up there. Right now they have dug all the trenches and setting the forms, putting the steel in for the grade beams. The piers are all done, and as of today, all the grade beams have been poured. The anchor bolts are in place, and they got all the locations correct, so everything is good to go forward for the steel during the next phase. This is the pit for the elevator or the pool equipment located just beside the pool, and a lot of that equipment is it's about 10 feet below grade, so that the pipes and everything can go over to the pool. This is showing them pouring the concrete for the grade beams, making sure that those anchor bolts are not disturbed, and making sure everything's in the right position as they move forward with all the concrete pours. Metco was hired to do all the independent testing for the concrete, testing the moisture content, air content, and workability along the way. They were out there at every pour and every time that they needed to be. Showing the pool pit complete and some of the foundation walls, as well as in the center you can see some of those big lines going from the equipment to the pool and everything serving that underground. The pool being excavated after those walls were poured for the foundation for the walls around the swimming pool area. Now the pool is being worked on, and they currently have all that out. They're putting in the lines for that and digging everything out for the underground underneath the pool. Switching gears and going to those tennis courts, which are located to the west of the building site. They started at 3 a.m. in the morning, pouring that all in one continuous pour, and you can kind of see the structure within that slab. That is a post-tension concrete structure, so those steel cables will actually be tensioned after it was poured, and to keep it stable, keep cracks from happening in the future, and giving that thing a level surface from now on, basically. This is showing the finishing it as they keep pouring, and they just work their way down, finishing it and getting it to the level where they can apply the tennis court surfacing material at a later time. As you can see, the fence posts were already installed prior to this. This is showing them pulling the tensioning on the cables. I went around each one of them twice, getting about 2,500 pounds the first time and getting up to more than 5,000 after that, so that the concrete is finished and it'll not move. Showing the erection of the fence, 10-foot high fence all the way around the structure. Completed. And there are no change orders with this presentation. Change order number 1 was approved last time. Substantial completion remains the same. It moved from the change order number 1, and it is currently middle of December 2017. Are there any questions?
Do I have any further questions? Rob, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. I've been advised that we're going to skip item number 9, and that will probably come to us next month. Is that what I understand?
We need number 8.
You need to keep me on track. Okay. Item 8, recommended resolution approving preliminary report for the MAP 3 Senior Health and Wellness Center, number 2, West Parking Lot.
Yes, sir. As you recall, with this project, we had to replace some parking for Capitol Hill High School, and that project is preliminary stage right now. So we have Darby Anderson here today, also from FSB, to give you a presentation for this preliminary report. So I'd like to invite Darby up.
Thank you, Mr. Todd. As Mr. Todd said, we're adding some additional spaces to replace some of the ones that were removed as part of construction of Senior Wellness Center 2. You can see before you, this is the same site that we were talking about before. The parking lot will be added just to the west of the Wellness Center 2 area. It's approximately 45,000 square feet of parking lot. It adds 135 spaces, which will bring the total number of spaces available to the school up to 430, which is the code required minimum for that building. This includes 75 parking spaces that are being made available to them from the Wellness Center 2's new parking lot, 102 existing spaces that remain from the existing lot, and 121 spaces that are already on the school's site. Previously, we had anticipated this parking lot being larger than it is, so the initial budget was set for $950,000. At where we are at right now, it's just over $650,000, so we've managed to cut about $300,000 out of the budget. You can see in front of you now, this is the site plan. You can see where the new parking lot is going to go in relation to Wellness Center 2. With this parking lot, there will be landscaping. That cost has already been included in that $650,000. So new landscaping, which is new trees, new irrigation, new meter for the irrigation. All of the trees will be picked from the same species that were used on Wellness Center 2 so that the sites will look contiguous. And then the next slide is a technical site plan. You can see where the parking lot has been laid out. We anticipate new detention facility with this because we are increasing the amount of impervious space on the site. Very minor utility relocations. We're moving one power pole and changing one area inlet. Next is the schedule. FSB was given notice to proceed on the plans August 3rd. We are currently working towards the preliminary plans for the end of this month. 95% plans will be due in before Thanksgiving. Final plans hopefully will be approved December 9th, with bidding happening early January, and construction will be anticipated to last 2 months from March to May of 2017. Are there any questions?
Do you have any questions? I have one. Anyone else? Darby, how many handicap spaces or ADA compliant spaces are going to be set aside for that total that was in there? Because I would think that since it's a health and wellness center, that will have a higher percentage than you would a normal parking lot?
That is correct. The Health and Wellness Center parking lot has, I believe, 11 ADA spaces. By code, it's really only required to have 5. We are adding an additional 5 with this new parking lot. 5? No, I believe it's 7, I'm sorry. 7 new additional ADA spaces for the school's use.
7 more for the school plus 11 for the health and wellness center?
That is correct.
Another question. Will this parking lot be available then while construction's going on for the school?
I believe that this parking lot will finish before the school is done, so I believe it should be available then.
We've coordinated all this with the school district. They have a representative that comes to all of the construction meetings, and everything is, like I said, coordinated with them.
Great.
Any other questions?
This comes with the approval from the subcommittee.
Okay, so we have a recommended resolution approving preliminary report for the parking lot. Have a motion to approve in a second. Any other comments, discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. Motion passes.
Thank you.
And that brings us to number 9 that we are striking. Okay, so we move on to number 10. Recommend resolution approving change order number 21 for the MAPS 3 State Fairgrounds Phase 2 Expo building. David?
Yes, this is an increase of $30,028.48, project M3-F002. There are 5 items on this change order. There's some resinous flooring that, because of schedules, we had to hold up. The contractor had to remobilize and come out and complete, and that was $3,600. And there was some electrical power that was left out of the plans, $5,600. There's some additional resinous flooring that the State Fair staff has asked for, and that's almost $4,000. There were some masonry lintels. Those lintels are the steel that holds the top of the door up, and those had to be adjusted because of the freezer. And then there was some additional fencing. So this is, as I said, $30,028.48, and this comes with a recommendation from the subcommittee also.
Good. Bob?
David, was this item on the previous agenda or this week's?
It was on this week's.
Because we didn't have a quorum.
That's
so
right.
We don't have a formal recommendation from the committee, but those of us who are in attendance were unanimous in our approval of it.
Okay. So we have a resolution. Do we have a motion?
I move approval.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. Motion passes. Brings us to number 11, recommended resolution approving final plans and specifications to be advertised for bid, MAPS 3 State Fairgrounds Expo Building Concession Stand Interior Signage Project. David?
Right. If you recall, the Fairgrounds Subcommittee is very fortunate in the bids that they got for the Expo Building. There was some additional money that's still within their project, so these are the next 2 items are a couple of projects that they would like to use that money on. So the first one is the building concession stand interior signage, and we have Sharon Richardson here today from FSB to tell you about this project.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. This is the interior signage over each of the concession stands. They're number 1, 2, 3, and 4 on your screen are the concession stands, and there's signage that's being proposed over each of those. It's a large a brushed aluminum signage that's backlit with LED RGB lighting so that the lighting can be changed out for different events and seasons of the year. These are the proposed names of each of the signage. Number 1, All-American, 2, Tex-Mex, 3, Deli, and then Pizza and Pasta, so that you'd be able to see these from across the expo. The proposed budgets and schedules. It was pretty simple, but do you have any questions?
Any questions from the committee? Okay, thank you very much.
So it's a pretty simple project with just the signage over the concession stands. If those of you that have been out there know, as big as this building is, you can't really tell where the concessions are sometimes, and we need these big signs up there, especially when you get vendors and activities going on you're not able to see, and these will be up there, so you can see it from across the building.
Okay, thank you very much, Sharon.
Okay, there's another presentation, I believe.
Right.
Is
I
the
think
next one.
We have to move for approval.
Oh, okay.
We have to vote on this one first, so do I have a motion to?
Motion to approve. Again, the committee didn't have a quorum to
Okay,
submit a formal recommendation, but we were all in favor.
so moved. Do we have a second? Second, okay. All in any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay,
Now,
thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Vice Chairman, item 12 is recommend resolution approving final plans and specifications to be advertised for bids. Maps 3 Oklahoma State Fairgrounds Expo Building LED video display column wrap interior signage, project M3-F002E. Again, with the excess money that they have within the project, this is a project they would like to do, and Sharon's here to tell us about this one.
Thank you. These are the proposed areas for the nano wraps. They're LED lit, large wraps. Each one of those black squares is a column, and these nano wraps are wrapped around each of the columns. So these are informational systems, it's advertisements, it's a great way to publicize things that are going on. These are some examples of some of these large LED display nano wraps that are used. Another example. The proposed project budget, and then also the budget schedule, the project schedule. Other questions about those?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Can they be programmed individually?
They are programmed individually. There is a software that goes with each unit differently.
Are the positions fixed or are they movable?
Are the nano wraps
Yes,
themselves?
can they be adjusted based on maybe the height of the event or the activity being held?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I would assume that it would be a fixed location just because they're so large and heavy, but I'm not positive about that.
Yes, that's what I understand, Ms. Lowe, that they will be fixed. They'll be at a level that will be above all the activities that will be going on the floor, so you can see them from a bit of a distance.
See it across the room.
are they programmed from a central location, or do you have to go to each post program?
From my understanding, that they can all be programmed from the same location, but I believe that there's software that goes with each unit.
Okay. Do we have any further questions for Sharon? Okay. Bob, again, you guys didn't have a quorum, but...
We did not, but this was the one item on our agenda this week that I think we're most excited about. This is cool stuff. This is, fun stuff, but also very important for advertising. This is less wayfinding as it is event-related activity and informative signage, but the format, the wrap, and the LED lighting is really neat. It gives a lot of buzz to the expo center. So, and we'll take a look later. Right now, the The proposal is to have essentially every other column with a wrap, but if there's money left over, if we can find a way to fund it, I think the fairgrounds would prefer to have every column wrapped like that. So we'll kind of see how that works out, but at least this proposal would give us every other column of signage like that.
Right, and this is in addition to the signage that's out in the pre-function area.
That's correct.
Out there that has video screens on all the columns. So the expo building, when completed, will be very high-tech.
As I understand, in the pre-function area out where you enter and buy tickets and so on, we'll have flat-screen TVs, like 4 of them on each column out there to help people orient themselves as they come into the building, and then this signage would be actually in the expo center itself. Anyway, the committee would move approval. I'll move approval.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay. All approved? Or all for? Okay. All opposed, say nay. The motion passes. Thank you very much, Sharon.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. This takes us to item 13, recommended resolution approving amendment number 1 to MAPS 3 Trails Improvements Project Phase 2, I-44 West Will Rogers Trail, decrease. David?
Right, it's a decrease of $184,608, project M3-T002A. This item and the next item are very similar. They are the first 2 pieces of the I-44 trail, which we broke ground on last week. Very excited about that project getting started. When we bid the project, we had the metal edging on the asphalt like we did on the river trail. As we were doing design, some of the feedback from the contractor was that that metal edging was difficult to put in and was susceptible to damage, and thought that a concrete curb would be more durable and would cost about the same. So we put that in as an alternate, and sure enough, it came out very economical. So what this does is a decrease right off the bat to take out that metal edging and use concrete edging on the trails. And the concrete edging keeps the asphalt from rolling off and breaking on the edges like you see, and to some degree it can help keep the grass from growing into the asphalt. So this item is a decrease of $184,608, and it comes with a recommendation from the Trails and Sidewalks Subcommittee.
David, I have a question for you. I know that when we were talking about the steel curbing or siding, people were concerned about the height of it, and if you were on a bike or something like that. How high is this curb?
It'll be flush.
Flush?
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Okay, a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. All opposed, no. Motion passes. Item number 14, I believe, recommended resolution approving amendment number 1, MAPS 3 Trails Improvements Phase 2 project, again on the Will Rogers Trail, and decrease of $173,760. David?
This is the exact same situation. It is less money because the trail is a little bit shorter.
I might add that this committee is aware of both of these decreases and has plenty of projects ready where we can use the money. Good. And I move approval.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion for the board? If not, take a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Motion passes. Okay, that brings us to item number 15. Recommended resolution approving amendment number 6, MAPS 3 Phase 2 Project 1 Sidewalks Improvements, a decrease of $485,981. David?
Right, and this is accepting the project and placing the maintenance bond into effect, the project M3-W002. As I just said, this is accepting the project as final. When we went through and reconciled the quantities, there were excess quantities than what were needed, so we are decreasing the contract by $485,981, and this also comes recommended from the Trails and Sidewalks Subcommittee.
I might add that we intend to build some more miles of sidewalk with this money, so I move approval.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the board? If not, let's take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion passes. On to item number 16, recommended resolution approving change order number 1, amendment number 1, MAPS 3 sidewalk phase 3, project 2 improvements, decrease of $42,600. David?
This is a change order with an increase of $42,600, but it's because we had a quantity in the project for sprinkler system repair, and we had a very small quantity, and the contractor bid it very high because his mobilization costs were high just getting there, and there wasn't any economies of scale on the work. So after work began and we realized how much sprinkler systems that we needed to replace, and the reason we didn't know was it's hard to find sprinkler systems. When they're down in the grass, you can't tell along the right-of-way who all has sprinkler systems, who doesn't. But once the contractor got out there, it was determined that the number of sprinkler systems and staff and the engineer negotiated with the contractor this price down. So it is significantly less than what it would have been had we extended the item out as much as we needed. So this also comes recommended from the subcommittee.
Sue?
Move approval.
I have a motion. I have a second. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion by the board? If not, let's take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The motion passes. This takes us on to recommendation 12. Now it's past that at 17. Recommended resolution approving amendment number 1, contract for engineering services with C.H. Guernsey and Company, MAPS 3 sidewalks phase 4 improvement fee.
Right, fee increase of $120,000, project M3-W004. When we negotiate the contracts with the engineers, we have an assumed amount of right-of-way because we don't know exact alignments and exactly how the properties lay out, so we assume a number. This project had an exceptional number of right-of-way acquisitions. In fact, we have 32 additional than what was in his contract, 32 right-of-way acquisitions and 11 temporary easements. So this fee is to have them draw the parcels, do the legal descriptions, contact the property owners, and to the degree that they can negotiate the cost for those right-of-way parcels. And this comes recommended from the subcommittee.
Sue?
Committee agreed unanimously with this, and I move approval.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Just one question. David, are we actually acquiring the right-of-way, or is this just an easement?
There's both. There's acquisition of right-of-way, and then there's some temporary easements. If we have to do grading outside of the right-of-way and we're not building a permanent structure, we'll do what we call temporary work easement.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, let's take a vote. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. Motion passes. That takes us up to item number 18, recommended resolution approving change order number 18 for the MAPS 3 Oklahoma River Phase 3 Whitewater Facility. David?
Right. Item 18 is recommended resolution approving change order number 18, MAPS 3 Oklahoma River Phase 3 Whitewater Facility, an increase of $879,051.12, and authorizing use of Oklahoma City Capital Improvement sales tax excess collections and interest to fund the pedestrian bridge, $786,122.40, project M3-R004, WC-0817, and SC-0912. We have several items on this change order. There are 7 items, and 6 of the items are being paid through the project contingency that is within the River Subcommittee budget. I want to make it clear that what this is doing is asking for additional money out of excess collections and or interest funds to fund a bridge. So let me go over the items that are being paid by the contingency amount, and that is there's some mass flow pump disconnect modifications. Instead of having to take the wires loose, unbolt them, and strip the wires off whenever they have to service the pumps. This will make a quick disconnect that they can just plug in and unplug whenever they need to service the pumps. And that's $11,500. Some awnings on the main building for the entry doors. There's been some issues with water running down the face of the building and getting on people and then rolling up under the door a little bit. So we're looking at an awning system to remedy that. There's a step that the kayakers have asked for, so it's called the channel step revision for $3,000. There's a planner modification for $3,700, and this is some areas that after you open a facility, you start realizing where people want to walk and where the foot traffic is, and they were walking through some of the landscaping areas. So this is to try and remedy that situation. Then there's the ticket window replacement. What we have at the Whitewater facility right now, or Riversport Rapids I should call it, is like a movie theater where there's a speaker in the window and there's a little change tray underneath. And what the Riversport Rapids uses is a wristband. And it's difficult for them to put the wristbands on people because of the way the tray is. So this is to revise that window so that it will be a sliding window, kind of like what you would see at a drive-through at a restaurant, at a fast food restaurant, so that they can put the wristbands on people. Item 6 is a flooring modification. The floor in that place looks great, but there's a lot more water and wet people in there than what was anticipated, and there's concern about how slick it is and falling. So item 6 is flooring modification of $27,000 to put an anti-slip coating in the areas where they expect wet people to be, and that's from the door and around the locker rooms and restrooms and then back to the restaurant. Item 7 is the pedestrian bridge, and this bridge was originally included in the plans and was value engineered out to get within budget. They've done a season of Riversport Rapids activities, and it's very difficult for them to operate with that island and without having a place at the eastern end of it so that they can cross the two channels. If you get up in that area, you have to walk all the way back down to the west side to get on the other side of the channels, and that becomes an issue for their staff. Mike Knopf is here today, and he can speak a little more about that. So I'd like to invite him up.
Sure. Well, hello, everyone. Well, we have almost completed, I think, a successful opening season of Riversport Rapids. Really have brought people, it's amazingly, I think it's now 43 states, multiple countries. It's really been an attraction. And one of the things, as David is mentioning regarding the bridge, is really is a functional issue that we're having to deal with as an operator. There are several things that we identified on a list that we would like, that were value engineered out, that we would like to bring back into the project at some point in the future. This, however, is one that is a very, very much a pretty significant operating issue, considering the fact we are in operation now and trying to really make this work. So we have these two islands. On the east end of the island, there is no way to get from one island to the next, and more importantly, no way to get from the islands to the kayak boathouse. The kayak boathouse, we have a programming in place for all of the education programs that occur at the Whitewater Center, all the swiftwater rescue training that occurs, and it's also where all the kayakers go who want to get on the water. So throughout the summer, we had people walking across the island only to realize they came to a dead end and they couldn't get across. Secondly, it really deterred people from taking a kayak lesson or renting a kayak or getting involved at that level because they frankly didn't know how to get there. It was a long walk around. Third, if you have gotten into kayaking, and if you've not rafted, I encourage you to do so, but it's truly a authentic, real experience. But the kayaking is something we're continuing to educate people. We've had a lot of interest in it. But when you're new, and we've got a lot of new, novice, brand new kayakers taking to Whitewater Rapids in Oklahoma City. And when you start we have a training pool at the kayak boathouse area. You have no choice, once you are out of that training pool, but to go all the way down the channel versus what you'd like to do is be able to get your kayak, walk across the bridge, go down to where you feel comfortable, and then kind of work your way up the course. So it's been very intimidating for people. So there's really kind of a safety and educational function to that, and that also goes with our swiftwater rescue training aspect. The final thing I'd mention with regard to that is, frankly, it's amazing how many people just come to walk in River. I mean, we talk about sidewalks and trails. We have a beautiful trail that goes through River Sport Rapids. And to have that bridge connecting both islands is going to make that experience 100% better, and being able to get also across, again, to the kayak boathouse. So, and that, of course, is free for anyone to come and enjoy and participate in. So again, that is really the overview of the need for, and that is number one on our priority list for our kind of bringing things back in at the right time. And we're just bringing it to you now because we are in operation. It's something that's pretty critical. And the timing, we are actually shutting down operations for the most part over the next couple of weeks to go into kind of a winter mode of cleaning. We're going to be draining the facility to clean. That would be the time to install the bridge. We want to make sure the bridge is installed before we put water back in, so we don't end up with the issue like we did last year with a lot of dirt and dust flying around and getting into our water, which then clouded the water. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions from the board?
Is this a prefabricated bridge?
Yes.
It'll be very similar to the two that are on the western end, but it'll be on the eastern end. And one of the reasons why we're bringing this to you now is we'd like to get it done off-season. Mike's going to shut down here in 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And that'll allow the contractor that we have on board right now to build that when they're not operating and be completed before they reopen.
I'd just like to
David,
add,
remind me again the breakdown of the funds that, from the contingency as opposed to what's already in their project.
Right now, we have about $31 million in excess funds right now that isn't committed.
Right. No, I'm talking about this project,
Right. The bridge itself is $786,122.40.
But I thought some of that was within their budget already.
No, the other items that I described were within their budget, within their contingency funds. The entire change order today is $879,051.
Mr. Knopp, you did mention safety, and I know from there are a couple of times that I've been out there, just seeing your rescuers try to get to somebody who's way up there, they have to start all the way down and run all the way up. So I can see where a bridge would really add a bit of safety to the...
You're very isolated at the kayak boathouse, and you mentioned one other point, and that is, like, for example, when we have events, they start at the kayak boathouse, and there's no way to get across to follow a race, from a safety or a coaching perspective. So
there was not a quorum this week at the meeting, but everyone did recommend that we do this.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'd like to motion.
You have a second? Okay, we've had a motion and a second. Any further discussion by the board? If not, then I would move for a vote. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. Motion passes. David, that takes us down, where are we now, number 19? Number 19, recommend a resolution approving change order number 1, streetcar storage and maintenance facility increase.
Right, an increase of $76,396.10, project M3-S006. Lots of times when you start a new project, the things that you really don't know you're going to come into contact with are underground, and that's what we had on this project. As they started doing excavation for the footings, they found that when the old buildings were demoed in that area, they left the slabs and the foundations. So item number 1 is $33,746 for additional demolition of a building slab and underground concrete. And then there was also an oil tank that was discovered in the area that was left by the previous building that had to be remediated, and when that soil was taken out, we needed a rock base to put in there. Then there was a sanitary sewer modification for $6,000. Those were the underground things that were unknown. Then the 12-inch flue was required because of a heater, and that's something that the contractor brought to our attention. So it was $6,600. There's a building foundation revision for $6,446 when the shop drawings came in for the steel. Because of the way the base plates and things were oriented, we had to make some revisions to the foundation. And then because of the extension of the remediation of the environmental and removing of the additional concrete, that extended the project out, and the contractors asked for what's called general conditions, and that's his overhead, insurance, and those kind of things for these additional days. So the total change order was $76,396.10. And this adds 36 days to the contract, and this comes with the recommendation from the subcommittee.
Nathaniel, anything? Oh, he stepped out. I was at the committee meeting yesterday, and we all agreed that this was a good idea. In fact, remediation of the storage tank was you had to have that. So do I have a motion? Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion by the board? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. Okay. Motion passes, and that takes us to item number 20. Recommend resolution approving amendment number 2 of a contract for the Brookville Equipment Corporation, who is manufacturing their streetcars. David?
Right, and this is a decrease of $6,500, project M3-S005. As we're working through with the contractor for the streetcars, the operator, COCPA, has requested there not be a fare box on the streetcars themselves, so there was some structure within the car that could be reduced, so this is a decrease of $6,500. And this comes with the recommendation from the subcommittee.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion by the board? Okay, if not, let's take a vote. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. Motion passes. Okay, item number 21, recommend a resolution approving change order number 2 of amendment number 3, MAPS 3 Hudson Avenue Street improvements increase. David?
If you recall, Hudson is being rebuilt, and there's participation from both the Park Subcommittee and the Streetcar Subcommittee, along with Public Works. So this is a change order and amendment for things that were found out there. There was a water line that was discovered that wasn't at the right depth. It's 100 years old. So we needed to not only lower it, but replace it throughout the limits of the project so that it didn't break right after we finished doing the project. And then there's the usual quantity adjustments as we go through the project. I'd like to point out that the memo states $128,312. Because of the breakdown, as I said, between the park and the streetcar and Public Works, the park will have $43,331.20 of that. Likewise, the streetcar will have $43,331.20, and then the Public Works bond obligation will pick up $41,650. This comes recommended from the subcommittee.
Okay, I know that at the meeting yesterday, this passed with unanimous approval, so do I have... Okay, so I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Second. And any further discussion by the board? If not, then take a vote. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. Motion passes. Okay, that brings us to item number 22. David, new business?
We don't have any.
Okay, item number 23, Citizens Ivor Subcommittee reports. And Sue, sidewalks and trails, sorry.
We are in the process of discussing the trail alignment for Lake Stanley Draper, so look forward to letting you know when we will break ground there, and hopefully breaking ground soon on the Will Rogers Trail. Right, David? Maybe?
We broke ground on the Will Rogers.
Oh, we just broke ground on that. Never mind. I was there.
You were there.
Yes. Hello. And then, more sidewalks being built. We're now into phase 4, which is the phase that was funded by the city council. So we've got our list, and we anticipate more miles. So, thank you.
Anything, Mike?
Not a specific comment toward senior centers, but it's just, as we're going through today's meeting and looking at all the change orders and what have you, it just reminded me, I think, how important it is that we concentrate on using MAPS dollars for the projects that were part of MAPS. And before we look at doing things outside of those projects, to make sure, because a lot of these we haven't even bid yet. And it just was a wake-up call for me to remind myself, again, that the additional things we like to do, we perhaps need to wait to see how these dollars are coming in after some of these bids are out. So it was just came upon me. I just thought I needed to say that.
I know that each subcommittee's got their wish list that they're putting together for what they want to spend this windfall of extra money on.
And the park continues on work on its final design. I'd say we probably are at 99.9% construction drawings, and look forward to an update from Hargraves in November and getting that approved through this board and then to council.
You want to discuss anything on the river?
We obviously did not have a quorum, but now we're shutting down for winter and hopefully getting some of these things done that we need to do for an even better next year. So.
Very successful season, I'm sure. Okay. Bob?
Just a couple of comments. The Expo Center at the fairgrounds is close to completion. Still a little difficult with this contractor to pin down precisely when it will be done and turned over to the state fairgrounds. Probably sometime in January is the best guess right now. I think, David, is it November 4? We're going to have another tour of the Expo Center so we can all
Yes,
take
sir.
a look at what...
Yes, sir. Everybody's invited to a tour of the Expo building on the 4th at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, okay. So I encourage everybody to come out and take a look. It's very close to completion, and the things that remain are not going to be terribly visible to the visitor. They're important to be done and need to be done, but you'll get a pretty good idea what the Expo Center is going to look like if you can go on the tour.
Cecilia?
Thought about it after you passed me, but we are getting closer to narrowing down a provider for Wellness Center number 3. So we are in the works of that. I think we're scheduling a tour, and we have a meeting following up with the proposed provider next week. So hopefully the next meeting we'll have a little more information on where we are with Wellness Center number 3.
Okay, thank you. I would like to add from the streetcar, since Nathaniel stepped out, I know David had mentioned that we're really moving out along that. The cars are actually under construction at Brookville in Pennsylvania, I believe it is. I saw some photographs of structure of the cars and what the trucks will look like in the future. Plus half of the rail shipment has arrived and is in storage in Oklahoma City. The second half is due in Tuesday. So that's shipping up from Houston. Came from overseas. So we're moving out. Construction has begun under the maintenance facility, so things are really moving. Thank you. That brings us to 24, which we have to enter into an executive session.
Right. Item 24 is enter into executive session to discuss the purchase of real property located in the vicinity of South Harvey Avenue between Southwest 11th Street and Southwest 12th Street for the MAPS 3 Park, Lower Park, as authorized by 25 OS 2011 307B3.
Okay, we've had a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. Okay, we are... back now to reconvene the meeting. Instructions have been given to council, and we'll proceed to the next item. David?
The informational items that you have in your packet, the first one is the Convention Center site acquisition map. You can see that on the screen. It's going very well. There are just 2 properties that we are dealing with right now. Then we also have the Lower Park acquisition map. It is also proceeding on. You can see there's at least been offers made on all the properties, and the dark blue are the properties that we currently own. So that's going well. And then continuing in the informational items, there's real estate purchase payments that were made and have been sent to council. And also there was an amendment, number 4, for utility and street project in the park. The park didn't have a meeting last month, and we needed to make sure the contractor got paid in a timely manner so that we didn't slow down the project. So items F and G are change orders that were sent on through.
Okay, that moves us on to 26, which is status of the MAP 3 program. David?
Real quickly, we've talked about just about everything today. Senior wellness, we got both of them, 2 under construction, and the third is looking for an operating partner. We've got the sidewalks and trails being built. You saw the convention center study or information today. Fairgrounds Expo building, we talked about that. It's nearing completion. Park is in design with all the utilities that are being relocated and preliminary design of the lower park. And the streetcar, as you said earlier, track arriving. Streetcars are being constructed, and the maintenance facility is under construction. So we have a whole lot going on, as is indicated by the size of the agenda today. Okay.
No, wait. We just walk out.
Yeah. It'll be a week earlier than usual.
And 11 o'clock?
That's because of the other board meetings.
So we're adjourned.